LY got the win here. All right, beautiful. Look at us going straight into game number 2. Let's go ahead and dive in, my friends. I checked. The hotkey to set message is page up for me. Okay. Yeah, so then it must be something on my keyboard is mapped a little strange. I think it'll matter less when we're not, you know, fast forwarding like crazy. Hopefully it'll matter less when we're not fast forwarding like crazy. But we'll figure it out from there. Okay, let me just fix. The only thing I want to fix now is just put Vivi in here. That way we are completely good to go. Alrighty. Whew. Off we go, friends, into game number 2. It was LY who took game number 1 in this 3v3 for the league, hosted by Daniela. Off into game 2 we go on Grand Bar. Very interesting map because of the way that the wood lines are generated. I will get into that in just a moment, but first let's introduce the players, starting in the bottom left-hand corner with Vivi for LY. In the light blue, he's playing as the Shoe. In the flank position, not going to be a surprise to anyone, Yo in the green, playing as the Franks. Very strong cavalry civ, a favorite of those who might have played the game when they were quite young, 20 plus years ago. And on the right hand side, his final flank is going to be Lix, once again playing as the Tatars. Opposite Lix in the red is Juan LV. Juan LV is playing as the Portuguese. Flank behind him is going to be Bad Koala. Bad Koala playing as the Poles. And then rounding things out with Jibitong on the left-hand side. The final flank here playing in the purple as the Saracens. You can see already some walls coming up here for Jibitong, so looking to create some safety. Doesn't want any action early in the feudal age. Wants to stave off any kind of pressure, so perhaps looking for a straight castle age kind of situation on this side. Would be surprised if we saw exactly the same on the opposite side, and this barracks indicates that we will see a little bit of early pressure here coming from Juan LV, perhaps in the feudal age. Now, about the map a little bit, as I zoom out, you can see there's this giant area, open area in the middle of the map, and this is where the majority of the gold is. All these gold piles down here in the cracked earth terrain. However, it's inaccessible to all of our players until they are able to chop through this wood line that you see going all the way around. So there's about 2 layers of trees here. If chopped efficiently, you can get through pretty quickly. But it's a choice, right? Because by virtue of chopping through to the center, if your opponents have also chopped through, you've now given them a pathway into your base. So you're either going to have to do some walling, some gates, whatever. But you can also make the choice not to chop through. And we've seen a couple teams do that in the past, though as I look around at the wood lines here. Here you go. Here's the first example of one player choosing not to go for the central wood lines and not create an opening. So Bad Koala opting to go for wood lines in the back here, which does mean he'll have to replace his lumber camps and move around a bit, but also does mean that he's relatively protected and won't take any pressure early on from the flanks. More barracks coming down as we have feudal ages coming in across the board. First to the feudal age is going to be our pocket player, surprisingly enough, in Yo as the Franks. Now, given the fact that the walls aren't completely up here on the right-hand side, I don't hate this, but this is a bit of a surprise on a map like this, which at times can really lend itself towards small walling like this and a lot of safety. So I wonder how easy it's going to be here for Yo to find any damage with those scouts. And in fact, he's even sending a scout to the wrong side. There was no scouting done here. Just now you see Vivi clicked forward and his scout started running back. So becoming aware in this moment that they're already fully walled off. Of course, they're going to start working away on the walls. Second archery range now coming up here for Vivi as well. Taking a look over on this side. The Drush, not accomplishing too much. Got a Spearman out, just going to chase, keep vision. And now first Archer in response here for Lix. So straight away, look at this. Juan LV says, I'll go ahead and take my Drush over to Yo. Yo, though, already walled up as well. So great foresight from a number of these players to get the small walls up if they couldn't have gotten the bigger walls down early. But massive stone walls already for Juan LV. Now, this is something that's very common on a map like this, where you get both flanks on both teams to fully wall off. You're going to set up those early markets once you get into the Castle Age and start booming with some trade as well. And I think the real action is going to come once we break through some of these trees. So 96 wood on this tree here. What about this one? 95 wood on this tree here. We're soon to break through for Vivi. On the opposing side, ooh, wow, stone investment even from Jibitong. So this goes to my point earlier about how this is really, you know, the pivotal spot on the map for any player, right? Is you want to protect your wood lines, and in the same note, he's also protecting his gold. So it's a really, you know, phenomenal tower. However, it does mean that he's going to be down stone when he gets to the Castle Age. He's either going to have to buy it back with a market or go farm it if he wants to drop some TCs down. Looks like we had a little bit of action here on this side, with maybe a scout going down. And now some action in the back as the Drush is finally going to get cleared up. Drush didn't accomplish too much. It forced some walls up. It got some scouting information. But I don't think Juan LV will be too unhappy about that, especially when he sees 7 scouts for Yo. I mean, 7 scouts for Yo, and look on the other side. The pocket player hasn't even made a military building. So all signs point to the fact that, you know, our economy here should be spectacular for the Poles once we make it to the Castle Age. 15 seconds from the Castle Age is bad quality. Nobody else has even clicked, and that's the food investment that you saw Yo go for here. That's going to slow him down, really. Castle Age is up. Here comes the second TC. It's a quick one. It's on this front wood line. So bad quality is eventually going to start chopping through. And then over here on the backside is going to be the third town center. So right now, take note, 25 villagers to 31 for the opposing pocket. So it is a 6 villager lead here for Yo, and that's almost entirely based off of the time spent researching the Castle Age. But now that we got those TCs up, we'll check back in on this number. Excuse me, it's still early morning here. I got to get a coffee. But we'll check back in on this number and the discrepancy in vill counts in just a bit. And we would expect Bad Quala to absolutely balloon in his vill counts here soon enough. We've got Stone Gate, so really no chances being taken by Jibitong. And I love that. I personally am a big fan of the fact that the players are playing with this kind of safety. Does look like the archers over here for Licks were able to push Juan LV off of his wood line, so he's now retreated to the back and dropped a couple wood lines back here. So full control of the center for LY, and that's what they get for investing early into the scouts and the feudal army. And now we're just waiting to see the response here on the opposing side. Are we going to lose a villager? No, not quite yet. We can hop over to look at KDs real quick. And as you can see, a few kills have gone through. No eco kills there for either team. So nobody's lost a villager. Nobody's killed a villager. Castle Age now on the way here for Jibitong. So he will be just behind the likes of Yo and just in front of Vivi, his own flank opponent. Getting whatever damage they can. Yo and Licks, this is good. You may as well knock those houses down. I don't think there's any threat of actually housing Juan LV, given the fact that he's tossing up some houses in the back here. But either way, get the damage you can. One archer quickly picked off there. On this side here, just a little harassment onto the walls. Everybody just making their way up to the Castle Age. Let's take a look at those vill counts. And how about that? From being 6 behind to being 10 ahead. Just now, Yo gets to the Castle Age. And just now, Yo starts to put his second TC down. So this is a pretty massive economy lead for CNZS. Just need them to put it to good use, right? So here comes the barracks, and probably soon to follow are a couple stables here for Bad Koala. Yo taking some harassment from the TC there and looking to bait and maybe force some idle time. Third TC now coming up in the back for him. The rest of the Castle Ages are about to come in, and as you can see, crossbowmen. And with that crossbow tech and having beat Vivi to the Castle Age, Jibbatong has permission to come out into that cracked terrain. The first of the players on his team to venture out into the center of the map. He's going to drop a TC here. Vivi moving out. Maybe thinking better of it in this moment, because while he is going for crossbow and bodkin arrow, he's going to run into already crossbows with bodkin. Has his own defensive tower up, though, on the wood line. So Jibbatong not going to be able to sit around here for too long. He's looking for some harass, taking some damage in response. No big kills found. Back over to the other side. I don't yet see any movement towards the center here from Juan LV. So will he be dropping a town center? He will, but he's going to go for one that's a little bit more safe in the back of his base. So 2 TCs for each flanks here for CNZS. 3 for the pocket, still pumping out villagers up to 62 now to the 44 of his mirror in Yo. Yo is on 3 TCs and does have 1 in the center of the map. Big cow. Wow, what a conservative castle placement. I mean, Bad Koala, they just don't have enough information out here, and honestly, it's smart because the light cav are still just waiting for those villagers to come out and snipe them on the TC build. But great. And whether it's because I don't even know if Bad Koala had the knowledge there, right? He doesn't have the scouting information. I mean, he knew they were here before, so he just assumes that because he doesn't see those light cav anywhere else, you know, harassing his allies, they must still be waiting for me. They're going to swoop in and get vision of that castle just in time before it goes up. And Yo's going to scooch on out of there. Oh, takes a little bit of damage. Going to lose 1 light cav even after having seen it. It's a bit ill-advised, but at least he's aware. And now we've got 2 town centers staring each other down here on the left-hand side. I suspect we're going to see a lot of action around here. I'm wondering when the first siege workshop is going to come up. I see a university here, so ballistics definitely is on the menu, as it's already on the way on the other side. But even still, on this cracked earth terrain, for those of you who don't know, buildings that are placed on cracked earth terrain, they take extra increased damage, right? So siege becomes hugely impactful when you're hitting buildings that are on cracked earth terrain. You could think of it kind of like the uphill-downhill mechanic in Age of Empires 2, where if your unit is uphill getting hit, you take 25% less, and if you are hitting a unit that is downhill from you, you do 25% more damage. There's the siege workshop that I was looking for, and it doesn't surprise me necessarily that it's Jibbatong. Again, the one who got to the castle age just a little bit sooner, the one who has just a few more villagers, feels like he might be able to support that, but Vivi's not going to get surprised by it. He's got a siege workshop of his own coming up, but you can kind of tell who's going to be on the front foot. Jibbatong's is placed just a little bit forward. Vivi's is placed just a little bit behind. So who's going to get the mangonel out first now becomes the next question, as we're waiting for each of them to queue up. But Knights on the field, great pickoff on the monk. Yo wanting to get this relic home. Did Bad Koala see it? He sniped the first monk. He might have thought, okay, I dealt with that, but he should have seen the relic get picked up a second time. Monks on the run here, looking for safety, as both Bad Koala and Juan LV are going to link up here. Knights and crossbows, very powerful duo. They might arrive just in time. This could be really dangerous here for Yo. Now, he is building it under the safety of his own TC, but these are Knights with +2 right now. There are 2 monks and plenty of Knights in defense. Four monks, actually, over here. So can Yo do it? I mean, this is quite... Oh, my goodness. What a commitment here. This could just be the end of the game right now, depending on how this fight works out. Juan LV, he does have his ballistics. Will he snipe these monks? He's got to get the monks down. Did they just miss? Ballistics crossbows just missed on a monk that was not moving. That was spectacular. But we got to get these villagers forward. I see Vills coming forward here for a forward castle. During all this, though, Lix is now on the way to help out. We've got Vivi now over here to help out as well, and now it's soon to be a 2v3. They're going to get pincered a little bit, but the production is just insane for Bad Qual. Pulls a night production. Yo even deletes his castle. You see Juan LV deletes his as well. Says, oh, as soon as I see those cav archers and the crossbows there from Vivi, maybe it's not going to be the right position for me. Yo going for an even more defensive castle in this position. How many villagers did we bring? We brought 8 villagers forward. It may be enough, but we also have a Mangonel that's made its way over. All 4 players are trying to get involved. As you can see over here, we do have a little bit of a fight between Lix and some of Bad Qual's Knights, but it looks like it's pure domination from CNZS, or ZS rather. I mean, those Knights are able to push everything back. The crossbows coming together. Great teamwork here from CNZS. Castle's going to go up. This is big because it pressures both the monastery with the 3 relics. It also pressures one of the TCs here and the gold for Mr. Yo. And it kind of cuts Yo off from the rest of his team here in the center, right? So it gives a really good forward position for CNZS to push forward. And we already have Imperial Ages coming in as well. You can see Jibbatong on the way to the Imperial Age, dropping a castle of his own. Now, during all of that, we missed this castle going up here for Vivi, which ends up taking down the town center from Jibbatong and maybe nullifies the Siege Workshop a little bit. But now a castle in response, and this castle in response, it's going to go up right about the time, or right before Vivi makes it to the Imperial Age. So that means Jibbatong should be the first one to get a Treb onto the field. We've got more castles coming down. Over on the right-hand side, Lix trying to establish a good forward position and a foothold here in the center of the map. Another TC going down for Juan LV. Now, Juan LV is going to be pretty far, I think, from the Imperial Age, given the fact that he committed forward with the villagers for this castle, a TC here, and another TC here. So he might be Castle Age for a solid period of time. First to the Imperial Age on this side is going to be Vivi looking for traction trebuchets, as he is the shoe. He's going to be going for trebuchets out of the Siege Workshop. They're mobile trebuchets. They hit for less damage and they have less range, but they're mobile. And that's an incredibly powerful tool. First trebuchet on the field here for Jibbatong, though, and already chemistry about to complete. That means this castle is probably not long for this world, although Vivi is going to commit to repairing it. He wants to hold the position for quite some time. It will be difficult, I think, though, for him to remove Jibbatong from this position himself. We do have knights and crossbows over here. Can they not get in there? Is that actually not a hole? Oh, that's not a hole. There's a tree right there. Okay. So we are walled up. However, a lot of damage coming from these Saracen Arbalest. Saracen team bonus, for those of you who don't know, is extra damage from archer units to buildings. And that's a team bonus. So even Juan LV's archers are going to do more damage to things like this wall right here. In we go. I mean, this is 3 players right now committing to a dive onto Vivi's economy. Vivi's going to have to fully... Oh, no. I mean, this could actually be utter disaster here for Vivi. He's on the run with a ton of villagers. His TC's under threat. It's about to go down, even with the crossbows hitting right here. And these are +2 knights underneath. The villagers are all dying. I mean, Vivi's getting absolutely destroyed in this moment. Where's my Eco KDs? Am I crazy? Oh, there's Eco KD. Look at this. 44 dead villagers, now 46, 47, and straight into the GG call. What a move by CNZS, man. They just saw their moment and they took it. They had the tech advantages. They had pressure going on the front here. And honestly, it's because of this forward position right here that they're able to move with 3 players at one time and dive in just like that. I mean, a pretty spectacular showing, honestly, from CNZZ. I think... One thing, though, that we can go back and question is Yo going for Feudal Age scouts. I just don't think there was the scouting information they needed to go for that. They should have recognized, or at least if he was going to do it, they needed to know which side he could go to. This side over here was unwalled at the beginnings of Feudal Age. And so if the first few scouts come this direction instead and link up with Lix and his archers, they actually could have gotten a lot done in the Feudal Age, I think. Instead, though, he goes this way with Vivi when Vivi hadn't done any of the work to scout forward, and all they do is just run directly into walls here by Jibbatong. And in that time, obviously, Pocket in the back here. Bad Koala just gets a massive economy rolling, builds no military units, gets a massive villager advantage, and because of his night flood with the poles, the cheap pole knights, they're able to come forward for this castle. This gives them the forward position they need, as well as the eco timings that they had for Imperial Age to start pressuring it on Lix. And Lix just doesn't have the answers, right? He's still on crossbow at this point. He can't face up against Arbalest over the wall, and he can't face up against +2 knights that became Cavalier right by the end of the game. So we all tied up now, 1-1 after that one, CNZS and LY. You love to see it. And I like how quickly we can run through these with recorded games. So all tied up with CNZS heading into Game 3 of the series between them and LY here. 3v3 tournament, the league, hosted by Daniela. We'll start on the side of the teams that's looking to strike back here, LY. And we'll start on the bottom side of the map with Lix in the blue. He's playing as the Malians. His pocket is going to be Vivi this time around. Maybe a bit of a surprise to some to see Vivi in the pocket. But he'll be playing as the Georgians in the green. And then Yo will round things out on the opposite flank over here in the light blue, playing as the Georgians. On the opposite side of Yo, in the purple or pink, is going to be Juan LV, playing as the Huns. And then in the pocket position, once again, nope, take it back. It's going to be Jibbatong, actually, in the pocket position here, playing as the Chinese in the yellow, and then in the red is Bad Koala, moving out to the flank as the Wu. We're zooming out so you guys can see Cape of Storms as a map. As you can see, it's a hybrid map. We've got land and water with a giant wood line in the center of the map. Now, this wood line isn't necessarily fully enclosed, so you can kind of make your way through, and it doesn't necessarily act as a wall. So you'll see teams will slowly try to wall up bits of this wood line as well. But it does mean that it takes a long time for somebody to maybe traverse through the center of the map, and you start relatively far away from your opponents. Given the fact that there is water, typically the bottom flank, in this case will be Bad Koala and Lix, are going on to water. And most of the time, you will see the flanks as well join them, looking to boost their economies through the fishing ships. So both flanks just now getting out to those docks. Dock is a little bit later here for Jibbatong than it was for Vivi. Vivi's already got a fishing ship working, and the dock is just now being built here for Jibbatong. So that's gonna make a pretty big difference in the food economies overall. 2 fishing ships to 0 right now as we speak. And even in the flank positions, you can see the first fishing ship's just now arriving on the field, while the second one is just about to arrive here for Lix. So LY a lot quicker to the fish, and that means the food and the food economy is generally going to look a lot better for them. We don't see any of the third players hopping out for the docks. I've seen that once or twice before, but it can stretch you pretty thin when it comes to your wood investment early. And if your opponent goes more for feudal age aggression while you're stuck investing for a dock, that can really come back to bite you. So we've got feudal age on the way already for Mr. Yo. I don't see a barracks coming up just yet, but would look for it to come up in about the next 10 seconds here for him to get it up on time for the feudal age. Otherwise, he's going for something different. There it is. Barracks gets placed with 45 seconds to go. He's bringing a second villager out, so it should complete just in time for feudal age. And we'll see what he's going to elect to go for. Don't see any villagers having moved to gold just yet. Let's hop back to our resource screen real quick just to see if he had gone and grabbed any gold of his own volition. He has not. So maybe a scout play? What's it going to be here? It is going to be scouts for Yo. So Jurchin scouts. And he's already scouting out his opponent's base, trying to get some information. This is a wood line that could definitely be hit. And you've got Lix over here looking for some help. So calling his friend over with the X, Vivi and him, now in the 2v2, but villagers also joining the battle. We've got a barracks coming up here for Jibbatong, pocket position, so not going to be a full boom for our pockets, and I think that makes a lot of sense on this map. Given the fish, you're either going to be fighting on water or on land. But 5 fishing ships here for Yo to the 2 of Jibbatong. Or not Yo, sorry. I'm going to keep saying Yo because Yo is usually in the pocket position. 5 fishing ships for Vivi and 2 for Yo. And what did I say earlier? I said, I've seen the third player, the second flank, go for water and fishing ships in the past, but I'm concerned that it's too much of a wood investment. Because you have to you're putting wood investment into the dock as well as the fishing ships right now. You did manage to get your stable up, but if you look at now, like the wood situation for you on LV alongside the food situation, one of those two things is always going to be hurting, and already he's getting jumped up on his wood line, loses a villager. Now he'll replace that villager, I suppose, with the fishing ship. This was a good snipe here, though. A great find with the spearman against the scout there. Does mean that he actually is now going to kind of wrestle scout numbers away. 3-2 as he's going for super defensive stone walls here. I mean, a big old defensive stone wall, but once again, Scout taking 2 hits from the spear there. Got decent damage onto the villager, but was it worth it? I'm not sure. This commitment to walling here from Juan LV is absolutely nutty. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 villagers of quote-unquote idle time that he's spending building these walls. These villagers are doing nothing to support his economy. Meanwhile, he's trying to get fishing ships out and is somehow managing to do so for his food and still has managed to produce a decent number of scouts. The only reason, though... Oh, this could be bad. He's over here trying to chase Yo's scouts away. Oh, Vivi didn't go far enough. He was right there. He could have looked for a sniper, too, on the wood line, but instead he's once again trying to link up a little bit, it looks like. Oh my goodness, this walling attempt by Juan LV is absolutely insane. Why did my capture age just wig out for a moment? Okay, we're back. Wow, I don't know if I've ever seen this commitment to walling. I have not seen too many games on Cape of Storms. I feel like the majority of times, even though you see walling on this side for LY, like, look, ultimately we could still come through the middle here, you know? And over here, there's still an opening for the time being, but those spearmen, they're going to do work in the choke points here against the scouts, and the walls got up just in time. Villager is safe. I think that might be effectively the full wall here for CNZS. You love to see it for them. Now, we do have Man-at-Arms poking around the back here for licks, and I don't know if anybody's been tracking these. So Bad Koala maybe about to lose a villager here and losing the one that's trying to put up the blacksmith. This is a great find and great usage of feudal units that really shouldn't be getting any value anymore. So an utterly pro move there by licks to keep those high health and to keep them alive. Now you see Bad Koala on the run with these villagers. And Lick says, fine, I'll just take down your lumber camp. You still haven't completed your blacksmith. Now, luckily for Bad Koala, he does have one more villager close by he could use to complete that blacksmith. Archers coming over here from Jibbatong just now getting fletching. So they will finally be able to dispatch these men-at-arms. But in that moment, harassment comes over the walls. And how did these guys get inside? Did we have an extra hole over here somewhere? Either way, scouts are in. We have a group of 5 scouts here from Vivi. Do we have any upgrades on them? No upgrades on them just yet, but 5 scouts is a huge threat. And now we're about to see some villagers go down on the wood line here from Jibbatong. Jibbatong is a bit distracted on the front of his base right now. He is going for the villager fight against these scouts. But a villager goes down here. He's trying to force down a tower here. Multiple villagers go down here. He's going to have to abandon this tower for the time being until he builds archers up. I mean, this is phenomenal pressure by LY, and a bit more akin to the way that LY plays normally, right? They enjoy their feudal age pressure. They enjoy letting Lix and Vivi make things messy, you know, and eventually, with a market coming up for Yo here, I would expect to see him transitioning to the Castle Age. On the opposite side of the map, though, there is one player who's managed to click up, now a second even, as we see more harassment onto the wood line. Bad Qual losing yet another villager. So checking in with those eco KDs. Why are they always so hard to find? There it is. Eco KD, as you can see, is much worse for CNZS over time, but they've managed to keep the food units, the eco units alive, or numbers close rather, and that's just because of their fishing economies, right? For all of the fish and the docks on water, we haven't seen too much fighting until about this moment here. A big battle between Vivi and Bad Qual on water. Don't know if anybody's necessarily got the edge. We do have fire ships and hulks for Vivi up against galleys and fire ships, it looks like, for Bad Koala rather. Galleys definitely the better option in the long run once you get them into a mass. And if you can use those fire ships out in front, I think this is a fight that Bad Qual might be able to win. Sending the fire ships forward to tank, and then killing with the galleys behind. Does get that medium warships upgrade, and this might be enough here for CNZS to take control of the water. Good fight here out of Bad Koala for all the pressure that he's taken on land, for the fact that he's lost 3 villagers himself back at home. He's now managed to kill 4 fishing ships on the water. He's looking to push forward and pressure the fish of Vivi over here as more Castle Age timings come through. We've now got Yo in the Castle Age. We've got Lix in the Castle Age, and Jibbatong has joined his ally in the Castle Age. University coming up for those archers alongside Crossbow Bodkin. So soon to have ballistics behind University here for Yo as well. He's going Cav Archers, it looks like. So Jurchin Cav Archers, going to be great mobile unit alongside ballistics to get some harassment done. Thank you very much, DJ Cream Cheese. I appreciate that. And I don't even know very much about this game. I was wondering, since League Classic is back, can we expect to host cast from you? I don't know about that, my friend. Like hosting and casting, I don't, it doesn't really have a competitive scene or anything like that, and that's not really my choice. It's more on, people who organize tournaments and stuff, whether or not they invite me. But you can find me casting Age of Empires. I tell you that much. Now look at this, some Hulks. Chasing down the Hulk back here as Lix was trying to do his usual thing, make things messy and get some harassment in. He's also getting some good scouting information, though. So now they're aware that Juan LV is on water. Up to this point, they might not have been fully aware that Juan LV actually had water units and had a food eco on water. And so that's good information for Yo to have overall as he drops the second town center to protect this gold and gain a little space. Same thing is happening on the opposite side. Juan LV, he's going to protect his forward goal with a great TC position and even go for another one in the back here, up to 3 for himself. 3 TCs as well now on the way for Jibbatong in the back alongside gold positions. And we've got stone being mined here for Bad Koala. Bad Koala, though, about to take a lot of pressure. And the question is, do they have enough to stave this off? The tower's going to do good work here. Siege pressure forward, though. Working away on those production buildings. This is a bold town center when you see siege pressure coming your way. And so it tells me that they feel they absolutely can hold it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be building this town center. I would be building one back here. Villagers forward, though, to repair on this mangonel. Second mangonel now on the way. It's going to be hard to break through this position. There's a good number of crossbows in reserve. We've got those knights and those light cav waiting as well. The tower will likely go down, but once you get the tower down, even if you break then through some of the production buildings, You've got to worry yourself about the TC. You've got to worry about going into a choke point. And I like this foresight here by Jivatong. He's going to kind of wall it up, a secondary wall position. We do see a villager go down here for back quals as he gets the garrison on the TC. The Knights think about running in. They run directly into the crossbows, though. So they're going to think better of it for the moment. But all this forward pressure for LY, what it does is it gives them time to expand, right? They are behind overall. In the game and in the economy. As you can see, it's starting to slip in the favor of CNZS. But this pressure forward is giving them time to drop TCs. This is only the second TC now for Vivi because he invested so much on water and lost all of his fishing ships. So full control on water for CNZS means that their economies, their food economies are going to be golden. But look at this. Vivi did make it in with the Knights. However, as soon as he dives in with the Knights, that gives Juan LV permission to run forward with his Knights. He's going to wipe up those mangonels and then just retreat. Look at this, too. Some creative walling from Bad Koala. He says, Vivi, once you bring your Knights in, they're stuck in here. Well, very creative walling. You love to see it. He is going to have to continue repairing on this town center or abandon it completely. And now all that stone that he was mining in the back here getting put to use with a defensive castle in this position. He's got to be careful, though, with nothing, no military here to support, nobody in the town center. A bunch of villagers are going down. We have a ram now coming forward to do damage to this town center. The town center is about to just get wiped up. Military finally coming forward here to support. They should be able to push this back. Rocket Cart should be able to kill this ram and will do so after 2 hits. So the town center gets saved for the time being. Cav archers are going to have to move out of here in just a bit. Don't want to be taking too much of that town center fire, but all of the action is on this part of the map right here. You can see Vivi just doing ring around the rosy in the back of the base right now, trying to make things ultra messy. But LY doing everything they can to not let this castle go up. The villagers are back out of the TC, hammering away. And I do think eventually this castle will go up. The question is, at what cost? Look at the eco KD here for Bad Koala. Now 25 dead eco units. The castle still only at 62%. Checking in, though, as well. Vivi on the run continually with these Knights means none of these Knights are being used for the defense of the castle itself. So it's crossbows versus cav archers nearly alone. This is a good group of Knights coming in to eliminate that siege. They found a solid flanking position, did Juan LV. So that's going to give them just enough time to finally get this castle up. This is maybe the boldest TC I've ever seen. In the face of all of this siege pressure, he managed to sneak villagers out. And honestly, I'm not sure LY is ever going to find this. It's such a risky town center. If these crossbows were here 10 seconds sooner, they catch the villagers on their way out. But now there's really no reason for LY to come down here. So this could end up being a really, really, funny looking situation where Bad Koala has just got a free economy there at the bottom of the map. All right, Castle Age in here for Jivatong, or not Castle Age, Imperial Age rather, in for Jivatong. So first again to the Imperial Age is going to be CNZS. I would say, though, this game is a lot more even than the last, even though the Imperial Age timing is a lot better for CNZS overall. We do have Bracer and we have Chemistry coming in. And I guess in some ways the good news for LY is that the pocket player in this situation is not playing Cav. If Jivatong was playing Cav and was getting a Cavalier upgrade nice and early and could break through these walls and just start diving into the economies and underneath the town centers, then this could get really bad for LY really, really fast. And you can see he would have an opening to run in right around this area. The fact that it's Arbalest is obviously still scary. Don't get me wrong. Doesn't have Arbalest just yet, actually. So it's just do they even get? They must, right? Yeah, they get Arbalest, just hasn't clicked it yet, but he does have Chemistry, and he does have Bracer. So he's got that extra attack, extra range. It's still going to make him an absolute menace as he harasses villagers, kind of making his way around. But it's not going to make him a true threat to TCs and things like that. And as you can see, loses 2 crossbows in that moment as he's coming forward. Rocket carts and siege pressure now here on the top side of the map, so kind of switching up our angle of attack. Yo looking for that Castle Age pressure as he is on the way to the Imperial Age. So is Lix as well. Actually, all three players here for LY rather, on the way to the Imperial Age. So the only player who's going to be left out of the group is going to be Bad Koala, which is reasonable given the fact that he lost 32 of his eco units and is definitely in a bit of a restructuring mode here. He does still have 23 fishing ships on water. Wouldn't mind to see him spread them out a little bit. Still a lot of fish that he could make use of out here. But either way, that's going to be phenomenal for the food economy. He's getting some outposts up, which I love to see. I love how much more outposts have become a part of the meta in the last couple of years in Age of Empires. When I first came back to Age of Empires, hardly anybody was placing outposts down. And it feels like such a common thing nowadays where you see multiple outposts by pros, making sure that they have that information, even if, you know, like their walls or their forward buildings end up going down. Bit of a pushback here against Yo with those Arbalists and Knights working together. Yo not yet in the Imperial Age, so having to kite back with the Cav Archers, but does thin out those Knight numbers quite a bit. And unfortunately, a rude awakening here for Juan LV as he's going to arrive to place that outpost in just the moment that the castle goes up and loses a couple villagers for it. It's not going to feel great for himself, as I'm sure he was thinking about placing a castle forward of his own. But the pressure rolls forward here, and now Yo is on the run with his wood line. Knights and Arbalists is not, you know, not a fight that he can stack up against. He's just got Castle Age units right now. He's got Bracer on the way, Chemistry as well in the next 20 seconds, but it's still just Castle Age. Cav Archers, wow, what a castle placement here from Juan LV. But Yo saw this, and he's going to send 2 Cav Archers over, and 2 Cav Archers is probably going to be enough to stop this from going up. Look at this. Is it going to be enough? It's going to be close, actually. 50%. He's got to actually focus some of them down. If he doesn't focus any of them down, this might still go up. 60% now. Only 5 villagers left. 70%. Oh, the Cavalier are coming over to aid him. Oh, my goodness. He's actually going to get this castle up. He's actually going to get this castle up with like 2 villagers, 3 villagers left. 3 villagers remaining. But the support of the Cavalier means that the castle will go up. So we've got Cav on this side with decent upgrades. They've already got plate barding. On the opposite side, though, we just have the X's coming down from Lick saying, hey, did anybody know about this? How did this get here? There's a whole village of people down here. They see it just in time to stop a couple of these production buildings from going up. And it looked like it was going to be John Swordsman. And might still be John Swordsman here for Bad Koala. I honestly wouldn't mind seeing just a mix of John Swordsman and Pikes or something like that out of Bad Koala for now. He's definitely still on the back foot. The economy's still not looking amazing. Just about to hit 100 eco units in total. Although, actually, I say that. His economy's looking better than Jibbatong, funnily enough, who took less damage early, but has probably been focused a bit more on the micro in the military going forward. But the pressure comes right back to the same spot it was before for LY on the bottom side of the map. We've got both Lix and Vivi working together. We do have bombard cannons on the field and a forward castle position. Hand cannoneers already being produced as well. That's going to be pretty ugly then for the infantry that's being created. And right now, I mean, this is a terrible cycle to be in. You're just producing single pikemen with, you know, almost no upgrades, and they're just immediately dying to Cavalier. All right, this time the Cavalier were actually tasked onto the town center. So we are going to see a couple Cavalier end up going down here. But the town center almost gets saved at the last moment, but unfortunately goes down. All of these villagers on the run, heading to the coastline to the safety of the ships. But I think they're not long for this world regardless. We see more X's coming down as they did break through with that bombard cannon. So in come the Cavalier. More production buildings being rushed up here by Bad Koala. And Bad Koala's in a bad spot right now. He has spent so much wood just getting these production buildings up. First here, now to be destroyed, and now back here in his base. The production just simply isn't there. Halberdier on the way, but the Cavalier are in, so the fragile economies of the players like Jibbatong are definitely under threat. We do have Paladin on the other side, though. I mean, so Juan LV, I told you guys about him at the beginning of the day today. He's a guy that we got to keep our eyes on. He's been absolutely a rock star for this team. So he's got Paladin, but he's got to use them defensively, which is not the ideal way to be using them. And in the moment, as he's going back defensively, that means on the front end, he's going to lose both of his TC positions and all the villagers out here mining gold. That's going to be really brutal for the long term, actually. Where are his gold positions? He doesn't even have them. And I think upon realizing that he's losing those forward gold positions, he won't have the production for the Paladin anymore. And as you can see here, bad quality. He just could never find his footing. I think it was, I mean, it was risky for sure to start building your production out here. I understand why he did it. He had a lot of space from his perspective. He hadn't been spotted up to that point in getting this TC out. But it did mean that it was a quick wipe up, you know, a quick cleanup for his opponents. But nice response there from LY. To go up 2-1 overall in this series. Vivian Licks just working incredibly well together and honestly just never taking their foot off the gas from Castle Age. Like they took like what, maybe a 1 minute break once this castle went up to get their economy sorted, go up to the Imperial Age, and then just start the push all over again. So beautiful showing by LY. Not surprised necessarily to see them strike back. And off we go into the fourth game of the set. Dave went into the wrong game. All right. Off we go into the fourth game of the set, y'all. We are playing on Minindi. This is actually my first time seeing this map, if I'm being entirely honest with you all. So don't take anything I say as gospel or truth. It's a very interesting map. So it looks like both teams start opposite each other, but relatively close, as you can see with what I will call the flanks. I will call the front two players the flanks in this situation, and the back two players, I guess, double pocket. So kind of an interesting makeup in this map. But we've got these deep fish out here in front, which can be harvested by villagers. And you can see already Bad Koala is straight to it with his settlement. And villagers bringing in fish is one of the fastest food generations in the game. So this is going to be an absolute boon to his economy for the time being. Now I wonder, he just means he hasn't taken his two boars, because his two boars are still here. You can see Lix has taken the opposite approach. He went straight for the boars and the hunt. But let's talk about civs here real quick, and we'll start with LY having won the last match. They are on series point, looking to put it away here in 3-1 fashion. And you can see Lix is going to be playing that flank position. That's not going to surprise anybody, and he's playing it as the Byzantines, a very strong kind of flank civ. They get cheaper spearmen and skirmishers, which makes them a great kind of all-around defensive civ. What's up, Malik? Good morning. Makes them just kind of a really, really solid all-around defensive flank civ. Their buildings have a little bit more HP, so they're harder to destroy. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just see, you know, a fully defensive approach here, as already Lix has gone for Loom. Now drops off and clicks up to the feudal age. So a much faster feudal age timing for him as compared to his flank opponent, which is going to be Bad Koala over here for CNZS, playing as the Muisca. Muisca, one of our newer civs out there. I will quickly mouse over them so we can all take a look and familiarize ourselves. Advancing the age costs less gold. Not important for the feudal age click, but does get more important further on. Settlements cost less, and they heal nearby units. Now, this is very interesting because if you're going to be taking a lot of harassment, having a couple settlements out in a few different places could be really good for defense, right? You can fight things off with villagers, but then heal back up a little bit. So I don't hate this civ when it comes to our kind of flank position here. but I definitely would still give the edge to a Byzantines overall. We have the barracks coming up now for Bad Koala, and I do believe, or for Lix, and I do believe Bad Koala saw that with his fisherman there right out at the front. Let's talk about the pockets, because we have one of them going for a fish boom in the back here on the side of CNZS, and that's going to be Juan LV. So dropping a dock, 2 fishing ships to pick up that perch, and then of course he'll probably be dropping some fish traps soon after. Very safe economies in here because they're all protected by the TCs, but he is playing as the Teutons. The other pocket for CNZS is going to be the Berbers. That's a Gibbetong. So they've got options here. I mean, Teutons very likely just going to be playing into the Cavalier, you know, into Knights and Cav, because they get additional armor, melee armor on their Knights. So a very, very potent unit. However, they move a little bit slower. Over here, Berbers, I wouldn't be surprised if we're making our way into Camel Archers. And I do see 3 villagers on stone currently. So Gibbetong very likely looking for the fast castle into a castle drop, and Camel Archers as the ranged unit to support those knights. Look at this even. A fast castle play by Bad Koala. Bad Koala, because of all of the fish he was able to pick up, then bringing in the boars afterwards, says, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going for the Castle Age. He drops Market, he drops Blacksmith. He's getting harassed by a tower. Lick's doing the quintessential Lick's thing. There's the skirmishers, there's the spearmen on cheap, because I'm playing as the Byzantines. 3 villagers forward, looking to build towers along wood lines. You might need to reposition those, because I do believe you can fit 3 villagers there into build, and it would be nice to get them all 3 building. He's trying that reposition now, and it just went worse. It went from 2 to 1. There we go with the reposition. But you can see already just how annoying it is thinking about putting the walls up around this tower. All the villagers have to vacate. Lucky for Bad Qual, he was able to get all that food in before he had to leave from underneath the TC. Now dropping farms on the far side of his TC, but things are about to get really claustrophobic here for CNZS. The berries now getting hit, this wood line being evacuated. I mean, Lix is doing a lot of damage here, forcing idle time, forcing repositions. But even still, we say all that, and the question is, what are the Castle Age times going to look like? Because nobody has lost a unit yet, so it is good pressure. And it's even forcing a tower up here from Gibbetong. So how about that? Gibbetong, who clearly wants to go for a castle at some point, is just going to throw a tower up to protect both his wood line and possibly his allies' wood line. All right, double tower even, Juan LV. So I would say this is a tremendous amount of damage that Lix has done. Lix has not lost anything himself in this time. He has now forced 2 towers out of his opponents for the 2 towers that he has spent. And the 2 towers he forced were out of the pocket players, right? It'd be one thing if it was just flank and flank both matching each other for towers, but it's lopsided now, right? So Juan LV, who might have previously wanted to go for, you know, extra town centers in the Castle Age, he now only has 75 stone. He can't be dropping a town center in the Castle Age now unless he buys or mines stone for himself. And we have another tower going up now, threatening the food economy. So he's losing his berries. He's losing at least 2, maybe 3 of his farms here in the long run. So Lick's just getting a tremendous amount of damage out right now. And once again, only 1 player in the Castle Age so far, and that's Bad Koala, who's going for a Siege Monk push. Now, I don't know how you're going to deal with this if you're Licks. I'll tell you that much. Did I look over the video? I actually have not yet, Malik. I'm very sorry. I woke up right when this series was starting, and so I just raced to my computer to try and get it to get us into the games. But I will take a look at it. To be honest, I also trust you. So if you think that it's best to be posting it like at this hour or something for traction, I do trust you. We can just post it. Alrighty. So we do have our first monk on the field, but we do already have some scouts out onto the field. So they're not going to be able to move forward just yet. And we don't yet have any siege, as we have one villager. Oh, barely made it into the town center on time. So the villager doesn't go down just yet, and the monks will be able to heal him back up. We have the battering ram going down, though, unfortunately, just before it manages to get the kill. But it does look like our temple guards are going to get the final couple of hits there. That's pretty big, actually. It gives Backwall a little bit of space. He can now maybe get a couple extra farms out here. He can move out to his berries as he intends. And now the castle comes forward to protect the front of their economies here from Gibaton. But still in the back, you can see the flashing lights. This wood line completely dead, can't be used. We've got more towers coming up in the back here from Licks as well. All right, trying to wall in this tower just so that Licks is building kind of a tower creep, right? He's trying to build this second tower so he can build the third one. I do like these walls here, though. By his 1LV, he's just going to slow the process down there. I guess if Licks really wants, he can go ahead and batter through, and he is going to start to do that. So eventually this tower will probably end up going back up as 1LD moves out for some stone of his own. Realizes he's going to need it in the long term, maybe, to create some defensive structures. Now, all this has happened, and we've barely taken a look at LY's position during all of that. And that's the whole purpose of Licks' gameplay, right? This is why Licks plays the way that he does. Yes, he's still in the feudal age. Yes, he still has a low score alongside the likes of a bad koala. But what did he do? He bought all this time for a fishing economy to come up for Yo in the center, and for a fishing economy for Vivi to come up on the sides. Not just that, Vivi's got a second town center, so the first player with a second TC on the map is Vivi. And if we look up at the top here for the eco units, you can see there's a really solid advantage for LY over CNZS, right? A really solid advantage. They've also managed to get their walls up in this time. So even as Bad Koala comes forward now for a little bit of pressure, Conks, very powerful, you know, raiding castle unit and battering ram, you can see that Yo just has enough time to respond. He will ultimately lose a villager, and eventually he's going to have to back away if he doesn't have enough cav units here to respond to this, as he keeps losing villagers. Okay, lost 2 to buy himself some time. Where's the military is the question. Right now he's just building scouts. Scouts is not going to be enough. Vivi now with the conks, though. He's roaming over, but I think he's going to get scouted out in that moment by Gibaton. So the conks are here looking to respond. The scouts dive in, and the scouts will make quick work of these monks. How many, if any, do we get? One monk goes down. No conversions come through, but one of the scouts died. More monasteries now on the way. So just reestablishing a forward position, right? Created one forward position here, and now just repeating that forward position here because they realized, hey, it's going to be really difficult for us to push into this castle. So instead, let's just move around to the right-hand side, and we can push in from here. And you can kind of see a bit of panic time now for Mr. Yo. Definitely a bit of panic time for Mr. Yo. Right? He's got to rush that siege workshop up. He rushed another stable up. He's just hard producing light cav right now, but light cav are great against monks, not against temple guards. And now it's 2 rams working away here. He's about to lose a stable. He's going to lose a blacksmith. We got the conks coming over trying to respond. They also now have to respond to the camel archers as well that are raiding around the backhand side. Knights now coming forward as well for CNZS. So, I mean, Licks did good work to help his pockets get economies, but the problem is that the pockets didn't really turn any of that into military. So it's the pockets who start to hurt now, as it's 3 Castle Age players against 2 Castle Age players. We're still waiting for Licks to get there. He's 1 minute and 30 seconds away. It won't be easy here to push through this choke. You're pushing up a hill against mangonels. So for the time being, we're just going to be removing houses, taking out blacksmiths. I would even consider, if you're aware of this market, come over and kill this market as well. See an X on the front side. Doesn't seem to indicate too much, maybe just calling out, hey, camel archers on the wood line, and actually these camel archers are doing work. Camel archers with ballistics, by the way, so sniping villagers here and there as best they can. A great mobile raiding unit. I mean, even with a mangonel in defense, we have enough rams forward that the siege workshop just goes down. So this is the only mangonel we have to work with here in defense. Still gonna be very difficult to actually push the town center down, because ultimately town center can be garrisoned. You could have the mangonel sitting behind it. More conversion attempts. The Kongs leave. Yeah, I'd love to see these rams just keep making quick work of these houses here. Just keep going, wrecking these houses. Pretty soon you're gonna see Yo get housed, right? Is he putting any more? He's putting an extra blacksmith up right now. We see an extra TC coming up here for Vivi. So Vivi's going into full boom fast expand mode. I mean, he's still trying to support with the Kongs, of course, but I think he's realizing, like, I need to get massive in order to make anything happen on this map. But just like Lix's pressure earlier gave all of LY permission to start expanding around the map and building out their economies, the team pressure here for CNZS is what's allowing them now to get all of these town centers up, right? So they're still at an eco disadvantage. However, I'm willing to bet the efficiency of those units is pretty abysmal. Worker efficiency for the last minute, you can see it's a little bit worse on average. Worker efficiency in the last minute. Just compare people 1-to-1, right? Like 15% better here. We've got 15% better here, and so about an average of 15% better in the worker efficiency for the last minute means the economies are smoother for CNZS, even though they have less units working overall, or less units on the field rather. They have probably more working. 34 idle here. As the Ville counts are evening up at this point because the TCs are starting to produce. We've got 2 TCs apiece here for CNZS, 3 for Vivi, 3 now for Lix, actually, as he's trying to get involved in the game. Just running Elite Skirmisher for now to have anything to support his teammates and help force these camel archers away. In the back, it looks like the Knights have found some great raiding and good villager kills against Vivi. The 1 TC here for Lix. Another TC here for Lix. Does get spotted out, but he does have the walls up, so should manage to get that one up without any issues because no range units are coming over. But now, of course, Vivi's fish are completely left to the wolves. Even this villager going to go down as well. So say goodbye to that food economy over time here for Vivi. And yeah, it just feels way more claustrophobic, way more cluttered and harder to navigate at this point, I think, for LY. Feeling like CNZS's, my goodness. I guess CZ's still works, but it's not apostrophe S. Yeah, their economies are way more spread out, right? And you can see, oh my goodness, look at that. 3rd and 4th town center now coming up here. Really defensive monastery, so probably just for relics in the end, as we haven't seen too many relics picked up just yet. Still, all of the focus is right here. We have a 5 ram push. This is absolutely ludicrous from Bad Koala. A 5 ram push right now, supported by knights, supported by monks, supported by camel archers, supported by temple guards. They kind of have some of everything, and it's exactly what they need right now to make quick work. TC went down. Now another stable's going down. I mean, Yo he's completely out of sorts right now. He's sprinting away, running for town centers. The Knights are now off in pursuit. I think he has an idea, Juan LV, that, well, their economies aren't here, so they must be evacuating them elsewhere at this point. All of the houses are going down. The ram train continues forward, and I actually think at this point, this is the correct move. I think at this point, you start hunting the town centers out here, because they're going to be less defended, right? It's one thing to try and push into this cluster, you know, with a castle defending, still a couple town centers. Yeah, there's not a lot of military here, But at the end of the day, maybe the one way you throw this game is to try and push under, you know, into a really cluttered, choky area where you don't know if there's a mangonel back here. You simply don't know. And a castle that can defend. So instead, you say, hey, look, there's all these undefended town centers out here where they're trying to expand their economies. Let's just go ahead and roll all of our battering rams over there. Knight coming forward to kill some elite skirms. We see castles coming up on hills for safety. I mean, CNZS owns at least half, if not more, of the map. Another defensive castle over here as well. So they're kind of creating that line of scrimmage across the center. We do have that TC going down as expected. The villagers are on the run, but all of those villagers will die. And as they're on the run, I fear that all they're doing is telling CNZS where to go next, right? I mean, that's pretty much what's happening. If your villagers are running that way, then they must be running to some kind of safety. So I guess we'll run that way too. And here come the 5 rams. Just need to be careful that the knights are there, because the villagers will try to hop out and take those rams down. If the knights are there, they can't do that. The vills pop out, all those vills go down, and another TC crumbles to dust. And just like that, the GG has to be called, because the same is going to happen here, and then the same is going to happen here, and then it's going to happen again here. I mean, that was stunning. You know, it all comes down to this. It all comes down to Bad Koala taking this fish at the beginning of the game and being fully uncontested while doing so. I'm not going to lie, that's a bit of a surprise to me that that it was entirely uncontested. Like, I understand, you know, not necessarily going full Vil War for it, but like, you drop a mill out here yourself and you just eat some of this fish, and I think this whole game looks a little bit different, because the fast castle out of the Muisco without really being punished. Yes, this tower came up and it did force him over to this wood line, and this tower came up and forced, you know, Jibbatong off of this wood line, and even forced responses here. Like, it forced a good amount of responses out here. The issue is that while you slowed the 2 pockets down, you didn't actually slow the flank down, and the flank went straight to the Castle Age and punished you with the Castle Age push. So yeah, that was a bit peculiar. And then I guess the other thing that we could call out is the fact that there really wasn't a ton of military support out of the 2 pocket players from LY. I think maybe they got a little, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit too confident given the pressure that Lix was putting in, right? That they thought, oh, well, if he's you know, demanding these responses out of them at the back of their base, then perhaps we really can just start expanding. And so that's why they went for things like a fish boom out here and an ultra fish boom in here. Like, yes, a fish boom happened here, but you can even see it's like a 6 fish boom, right? It's not a 2 dock. What is this? 2 dock 17 fish boom, which is great for your food economy, but it's terrible for your tempo, right? You're just going to be too slow. And so ultimately, I think what happened here is that the LY pocket players were just a little too greedy and maybe didn't recognize that, you know, not enough damage was necessarily done. And if instead they had built a little military first and then expanded, or maybe honestly, like, even if just Vivi doesn't go docks, maybe just adds like a single town center, so like goes to 2 TC and then like 1 castle conch production, something like that could have possibly made this a lot more even or closer of a game there. I mean, it was still a pretty close game, but I think this reposition too is really brilliant, because I think they also thought, okay, Vivi's got the castle down on the front, we're safe, right? We're safe. We can continue to expand our ecos, all that kind of stuff. They won't really be able to pressure us through this. And Bad Koala said, yeah, okay, I'll just go over here where there's not a castle. And this was a brilliant reposition, and they've worked really, really well together to push directly into Yo's base. Let's take a quick look at the statistics, then we'll move on to the 5th game of the day. Best of 5 going all the way to 5 in the first of our series here for the league. I mean, Juan LV, man, he's just a top performer. He's just a top performer, but I think Bad Koala gets a lot of credit for his play in that one specifically. The Berber KD is also nutty. Those Camel Archers did a lot of work. Taking a look at resources collected. I mean, look at that even. Bad Qual did a lot with a little, right? I mean, it was a 1 TC Monk Siege push. So he got the resources to go to Castle, and then he just put everything into military. And how about that? 10:50 on the Castle Age timing. The next closest was a minute and a half later. A minute and a half. That is ages in Age of Empires time. And we even had a second player in the Castle Age not too far behind that for CNZS. So really, I think it was this Castle Age time with the Monk Siege push and then getting supported with military by his pockets, whereas Lix wasn't as supported by military, and the timings were maybe just a little bit more off there. GG's on that one, though, folks. 2-2, all tied up, 1 to go. Does anybody have a sense? Does anyone have a feeling of who's ultimately going to take it? I'm curious. I don't know. I'm personally liking the way that CNZS is playing today. Conventional wisdom says LY, the more experienced team with, arguably the better team players, should be the bet in a game 5 in a pressure situation. These guys have been here a million times before, these ones over here. So, probably the smart money goes on them. But something about the way that this CNZS team has been playing in this tournament speaks to me. And I feel like they might be taking it in the end. They very well might be. Game number 5, y'all, between CNZS and LY in the league. 3v3 tournament hosted by Daniela. Phenomenal tournament so far. This is just the qualifiers, by the way. So it's been a phenomenal preview of the action that were promised when the main event comes around. Both of these teams, formidable teams, but we'll see which one comes out on top and ultimately qualifies into the main event. Game number 5, we're on enemy archipelago, and let's take a look at it. The name tells you exactly what to expect as we dive into the map. Each player is placed on an island across from one of their opponents. And so there are 3 separate islands, 3 separate 1v1s. Now, of course, as the game develops, teammates can aid each other, can get more involved, but this creates a really interesting dynamic. So let's go ahead and start here on kind of our southernmost island when it comes to the player introductions, and we'll start with Jibitong here in the yellow. Jibitong is playing as the Romans. Really strong economy civilization, getting a kind of a base eco boost to the speed at which all their, or the efficiency at which all their villagers work. Solid infantry, decent scorpions in the late game as well. And then, of course, can build into some legionaries and centurions as well. Just kind of a general powerhouse civ, but largely because of their economy. And then, of course, infantry armor upgrades being doubled means they've got very, very, very strong infantry in the end. He will be playing up against Vivi, playing in the light blue. Vivi is playing as the Japanese, another really strong infantry civ because their infantry attack faster, as well as having the unique unit of the samurai, which utterly destroy other infantry units. So this could be a really unique matchup, given that they're both infantry-based civs. However, one does a lot better with the siege units and the anti-infantry, like scorpions in the Romans. But that'll be Vivi and Jibitong fighting it out. If we hop over to the northern island, we're going to see Bad Quala here in the red, playing as the Inca, and he's up against Yo in the green, rather, playing as the Sicilians. Don't know what to make of that matchup necessarily, because once again, both are happy to go into infantry, though the Sicilians also have very strong cavalry units. Inca, obviously, being in America's civ, don't have access to cavalry, so they're going to be playing within the infantry and the archer lines specifically. And then, of course, our final 1v1 sports Juan LV over here in the pink, playing as the Slavs, up against Lix, playing as the Celts. Now, how about that? Because Slavs have an incredible food economy when it comes to their farmers. Their farmers work incredibly fast. And they're a phenomenal infantry cav civilization. Their infantry in the late game, I believe they get Drazina. There it is down here. Infantry deals trample damage. Now that takes a while to get to, so not affecting you early. But of course, also because of that incredible food economy, they're great at spamming cav units. Interesting though into the Celts though, because the Celts are an infantry-based and siege-based civilization. So spamming cav into pikes and halberdiers doesn't sound great to me, but it is good at taking out siege. Now Lix, of course, never really know what he's gonna do. Luckily, he's showing us as we arrive at his base 6 minutes into the game. He's already got the drush underway. So with the barracks up and the militia out, I should say men-at-arms instead. So here come the militia first, but 40 seconds away from the feudal age means that soon we'll see that men-at-arms click. And he's looking to put some early feudal pressure onto his opponent. Now, this is being tracked very well here from Juan LV, so it's not going to be a surprise at all. He's already got the walls up on his gold, and his wood is incredibly safe over here on the right-hand side of his map. So while Vivi does get a good hit there on the scout, these men-at-arms aren't really going to find much damage, I don't think. There is the men-at-arms click, so he is still getting it in. And we have men-at-arms as the response here by the Slav player. So matching it there. Celt men-at-arms do move a little bit faster, so you're never going to be able to chase them down infantry to infantry. But I'm not sure any damage is going to be found here by Lix, because the base setup generally for Juan LV is phenomenal. He's already got that protected gold villagers. He's getting the archery range up. Once he gets one archer out onto the field, he can start chipping away at these man-at-arms. Let's look at the other 1v1s. We can see it's a man-at-arms as well on this side here for Vivi. So two of the LY players going for that man-at-arms pressure, as well as towers on this side from Vivi. Does force that tower up in response. We now have a market wall as well here by Jibitong. Jibitong clearly trying not to go into military units, right? You can see how desperately Jibitong is trying not to go into military units. Still doesn't even have a barracks. So without a barracks, if these units get in, it could be disastrous. So he's in full repair mode, full tower defense mode. He's even dropping new houses to complete a wall behind. Right as arson comes in, by the way, as well. So these buildings are about to absolutely melt here. You can't out-repair this. You're not going to be able to out-repair this. Okay, second villager comes over. You still can't out-repair it. You still can't out-repair it. And the house goes down. Vivi's in. Oh, no. Villagers on the run. Oh, we could have wall our villagers up around the gold. No, he decides to run regardless, but this means the tower is going to go down now as well because he's got nobody there to defend it. He's going to try and fight it off the villas. Oh, no, this could be it. Vivi could have just won the game right here. I mean, we're fighting with villagers. We're jumping in and out of the tower, bringing villagers forward to fight the tower on the other side. I mean, you know what? Wow. What a defense from Jibitong, just pulling all the boys and girls over. How many did he lose there? He only lost 2. All right, that's not so bad in the end, given that we're the Romans, right? And the Romans do have that eco bonus. The fact that he was able to push that away is quite surprising to me in the face of those Japanese man-at-arms and the scout. But pulls enough villagers, micros well, jumping in and out of the towers to make it work. How about this? On the opposite side, it's more infantry play. The transport play by Yo. Oh my goodness, catching bad quality completely off guard. Just transports. I see your walls, and I'll go right around them. Look at that, 1 villager down, 2 villagers down even now for bad qualis. So it's a total of 5-0 in the eco KDs between the two teams. And look how good it's looking for LY when it comes to the overall numbers. And now it's going to go from bad to worse here for bad quala. I don't know what you do in the situation as bad quala. The Sicilians building their unique building in the dungeon. And this is the sergeant, one of the few military units in the game, the only military unit in the game, rather, that can build buildings. And they can build these dungeons, which can produce more sergeants, but also act like towers. So we're about to see this entire base just get flooded, I think, with dungeons and sergeants. The eco's looking nice and pretty back at home. Bringing in that gold. We're bringing in more stone for dungeons. Here comes the market, looking to balance the economy and go up to the Castle Age. Back here, the towers have continued by Vivi. Vivi gets one up on the gold. Funnily enough, there is still another gold available here for Jibbatong, so it just kind of forces the reposition, but he's not too much worse for wear. There is a water battle as well, though, to protect the fish or the whales. Whales, for those of you who are new to Age of Empires, they give gold from the water, so you have options for gold from the water and food from the water. We've not checked in over here in quite some time. Lix and Juan LV, how are they looking? Looks like we got skirmishers v archers, but just a little tit for tat trading over here. I don't think anybody has lost a bill. I mean, I think this is where the majority of the... Oh, no. Oh, he hasn't even seen it yet. He hasn't seen it yet. Oh, my goodness. Bad Koala's getting absolutely roasted right now. He's dead. He's dead. He still hasn't even noticed. What's he looking at? What are we looking at? We're sending melee units out here. We're sending champies out here, champy warriors, and he's losing his whole wood line. Oh my god. He has 18 villagers, guys. Bad Koala has 17 villagers now. He still hasn't noticed. What is happening right now? It's absolute disaster. He's sending the champion warriors forward. He's not even coming home to clean it up. He's sending more champion warriors back here. He lost his entire wood line without recognizing and without doing anything with these villagers. He has 0 on wood. He has 0 on wood. He's gonna realize now or something. He's got no food either. Oh my goodness. He's got 3 on food with no food in the bank. He's got no wood with no villagers on wood. And he's only producing gold right now. He did make it in. He made it in. Does he find this wood line? Can he deal damage? If he finds the wood line, there's potential for some counter damage here. But he's right now working with less than half the villagers that Yo is. He has to kill 15 villagers here just to even it up. And now the sergeants are back out. They're going to make quick work of this ram. They're going to make quick work of this scorpion as well. Oh, no. Bad Koala. No. Oh, my goodness. Yep, here goes the scorpion. The scorpion's about to go down. He doesn't even have the resources to defend it. He's losing more villagers here on his gold. He's in full retreat mode. He's got AFK villagers back here. He's working with 12 villagers to his name right now. I think Yo just solo won this game unless something crazy happens on one of these other islands. Juan LV still in the feudal age for another 5 more seconds. So not quite there. And he's the one who's been pressured. So he's on the back foot defending. Not going to be able to do something for his team. Over here, maybe this is our best chance, is Jibbatong. But he is also still being pressured. I mean, look at this. He's got 5 scorpions garrisoned, but he doesn't have the military to support it. And he's up against knights and pikemen. Does have some knights out on the field finally. And these knights, don't lose a knight to a vill. Oh, no. He's going to lose his knights. Oh, no, guys. In game number 5, I think it's just... LY just completely dismantled them in game number 5. Like, oh no, oh no, oh no. We just ejected all of our scorpions, and now we're losing them one by one. The villager comes out for the fight. The knights are coming forward to take them down. This is so expensive. I mean, they are at least getting knight kills, so it's 2 scorps for 2 knights so far. 3 scorps for 2 knights. But the more and more that these scorpions go down, the less effective they'll be. That's 4 scores for 2 knights. Now we have even an attempted conversion. It doesn't end up going through, so maybe the push can begin here ever so slightly. Another scorpion goes down. Back over on this side, we're working with 10 vills. We're going in the wrong direction when it comes to the vill counts here for Jibbatong. He's just in full survival mode. Honestly, I would consider... Yeah, I was gonna say, I would consider getting a dock up, building a transport, and then just giving up my island and trying to go elsewhere. Now, the fear with that, which is maybe what he's about to try and do, You do that, and then you just allow Yo permission to go to another island as well and double up on somebody in terms of pressure. First player to add 2 TCs is going to be Yo, and that's no surprise. He is so far ahead. He just needs to keep the pressure out behind his walls, and boom, like it's nobody's business. Second TC coming up for Vivi just now, a second TC as well for Licks. I'm pretty sure they have communicated with each other that each and every one of them got some damage done, and LY's got it. Who's winning so far? Yeah, definitely taking a look at this bar right here. These bars up here, and when you see both of them, the middle and the bottom bar going one way or the other, it's a pretty good indicator. It's going to take nothing short of a miracle for CNZS to win this game. Nothing short of a miracle. If they win this game, that is it hard to make a comeback in this game? From this position, yes. And on this map, even more so. I would say because this is happening on this map, it's even more unlikely. Because normally in a situation like this, if my teammate's getting absolutely roasted like this, right? If we're on a map where we're all on the same plot of land, right? If these were all connected, like if there was literally just a land bridge here, when he was getting like destroyed right here, then I can send things to help him, and maybe it doesn't get to the point where he has 10 villagers left. I mean, now that it's on 10 villagers, this would be even done on like Arabia on a standard map. LY has a high chance of winning with Qual pretty much dead. I would say this is a 99.9% chance of winning for LY. I don't even know how it's going to require 3+, 4+ massive like game losing. Like you'd have to make 4 game losing mistakes. Like what would normally be game losing on its own, you'd have to do it 4 times, I think, to give CNZS a way back into this game. And as you can see, Backwall has gone fully on the run over to Juan LV's island. So he did do what we were suggesting. But this means Yo's got this entire island to himself, all the resources on it, and soon can start bringing units over to help, right? And even still, you can see Juan LV is struggling just to hold his own base, right? Just losing some villagers here. He's now taking siege pressure. He did clear up one of the buildings over here, which is good to see. Oh, Yo already did make his way over. I take it back. Yeah, we cleared up a donjon here, which is nice, but another donjon's coming up here. The GGs are called. It's just too much pressure for them. We knew it was going to be too much. Yo with an absolute masterclass in the 1v1. I mean, and this is why. I told you guys at the beginning of this set, Mr. Yo, long one of the greatest players in the Age of Empires scene. You know, at times in the, you know, top 1, 2, 3, maybe nowadays would be considered more of a top 5 player. But even still, this guy's got it. And he showed us why, right? Because over the course of a series, he ramps up. He doesn't get shaken when the opposing team strikes back. And he finds just the little inventive ways to get an edge. Bringing those sergeants forward, running into walls. Most players are thinking, yeah, I'm safe behind my walls. Boom. Transport shows up, just pop around the walls, and the sergeants make quick work of this economy back here. Bagwalla had a bad day when it comes to that 5th game. And LY, they get it done in game number 5, but they were absolutely pushed to their limits. Really impressive showing overall out of CNZS. And I have to continue to shout out Juan LV, probably the least known player out of the 6 here, who I think was maybe the top performer for this team throughout the tournament. So really spectacular. It was cool to see. Congrats to LY for booking their ticket to the main event. That is 1 best of 5 down, y'all, with 2 more best of 5s to go today. I think that one set a really good tone for the rest of the day and the rest of the games. We can quickly pop through the statistics, but I think it's going to surprise nobody. Yo had an insane economy lead here. From a military perspective as well, a 2.5 KD is just absolutely ludicrous. Juan LV might have had a huge military But it wasn't going to be enough because he was essentially fighting a 2v1 at that point. And even Licks, look at that. I mean, the economies for all three of these players. Oh, my God. Yeah, just a tough day for bad quality. Even Jibbatong really on the back foot throughout all of that. And that's Romans, by the way, with an eco bonus getting out ecoed. I guess Celts also have a wood bonus, which is where a lot of that economy is coming from. But even still, Romans should have a number that looks a lot more like these.